Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Little Greenfish. I'm Brian Partak. Got another tournament recap headed your way. Stop number 3 of the Northern Toyota Series on the beautiful St.Lawerence River. Good friend of mine, Dan Brown, he traveled with me this week. He's got a story to tell. I got some life lessons, as always, to share with you. Stay tuned. Another tournament recap headed your way. I got you. You're gonna see him. Oh man, St.Lawerence River. God, I love this place. Welcome back to the channel, and before we get started, just a few people I'd like to thank that make all of this possible. Lucas Oil, Bedford Sales, Ben Green Insurance Agency, Bridgford Foods, Phoenix Boats, and Mercury Outboards. And I also give a special thanks to my girlfriend Anna. She does a great job of making my life really simple. She does a lot of the packing for me and makes sure that I'm prepared for these trips. So huge shout out to you. Looking forward to seeing you when I get home. Okay, so let's get into it. St.Lawerence River, here it was. It was a make it or break it event for me. I had a tough finish at the Potomac River, followed by another tough finish there at Lake Champlain. But I was sitting in 17th in points for the wildcard division due to my finishes there at Lake Gunnersville and at Lake Chickamauga. So I was sitting in the running, knew I had to have another top 40 or better finish, and I was gonna get a berth to the national championship there on Lake Gunnersville. So that was the goal this week. Been to the St.Lawerence River prior to this. I knew it was gonna be a slugfest. This place always is. The weights are super tight. So coming into it, I felt like Clayton was going to be my area that I was going to pick this week from my previous research and from being here last year. Also, last year I stayed in Messina the entire time. It was tough for me to drive down to Clayton to even practice because it's about an hour and 25 minutes to an hour and a half by car to get down there. So that was the game plan. Stayed down there all 4 days of practice, and I had a decent practice. I caught some really nice fish, as you're going to see. Had some really nice ones found, and I was feeling pretty confident. Let's get into it. Day number 1, as soon as I put that trolling motor in the water, I realized real quick that it was already different from practice. The water temperature had gone from 69 to 66 in just 2 days. And I just really felt, especially when I did 3 or 4 drifts in my first spot, it was a different deal. And something that I'd remembered and thought about the night before is I got an Alabama rig ready, because I just had the feeling that it might play a role in this event. I was throwing it on a Dobyns Fury 795 SB swim bait rod, and I was throwing just a small Alabama rig, and as you're gonna see here, I catch this nice one. I got you. I see him. Oh man, St.Lawerence River. God, I love this place. there you have it. My day's off and running. I catch a fish on an Alabama rig, something I never even made a cast in practice. Made an audible there. I also was throwing a small Kitech, a 2.8, on a Matt Steffen Dirty Jigs guppy head. And unfortunately, I hooked a really nice fish and just bad luck. Came off, and about 15 minutes later, I ended up catching another nice one on the Alabama rig, and I really thought I was onto something. I'd covered all my areas. The wind and the weather, it switched on us. The wind was out of the northeast, which the river runs southwest to the northeast. So having a northeast wind or north wind, it's tough. It definitely makes it tougher for the fishing conditions on the river. Not making excuses, just saying the facts. I started covering my areas, got a little spun out, and I had to make that 90-mile boat ride all the way back with only 2 fish. I stopped on a little rock pile that's something I'd fished last year, pulled up there, and with 5 minutes to go, I catch this nice one. Great time with Burke. I weighed in 3 fish day 1, had just under 12 pounds, but I knew I was committed, and I knew that all my practice was down there in Clayton, and I also felt like now I dug myself a really big hole that I was going to have to get out of, and I needed a 23 to 24 pound bag to make a comeback. I felt that the only way I could do that was down there at Clayton. Day 2, I drew a guy by the name of Alex Moore. He's from Southern Illinois. Talked with him actually a few times in the past, but here it is. I draw him, and he was in good shape for making the championship, so he needed a couple fish. And I told him, hey, you know, we're going to gamble it, and he agreed. He was on board for making the 90-mile boat ride down there as well. We got down there, started throwing the Alabama rig. It wasn't happening. Drift all my best stuff. It just wasn't happening. Alex was fortunate and caught 2 behind me, and for me, it was the most humbling day of bass fishing I think I've ever had in my life. I came in with the goose egg on the St.Lawerence River, and obviously I didn't make those the right adjustments, but it is what it is. I learned a lot, and that's why I'm out here. That's why I'm traveling. That's why I come out here, because it's obviously my weakness is the northern swing. The St.Lawerence River's now got me twice. Champlain's got me twice, so that's what's gonna make me better, is keep coming out here until I figure it out. So now we're gonna get Dan on here, and he's gonna talk to us a little bit about his experience. Let's talk a little bit about your event. Did you have a good time this week?
I had a fantastic time. Having the opportunity to come here and fish. This is one of my bucket list lakes. I have places to come fish. St.Lawerence River, giant smallmouth. Thanks to Brian and during our practice, I had the opportunity to catch my personal best while I was
That's right.
there.
We'll throw that picture in here.
So I'm really happy about that, and had a great time traveling with Brian as always. I had the opportunity day 1 of the tournament to make that 90-mile run like Brian did. I was with Kyle Hall. Kyle Hall was fishing with his electronics, which made it kind of difficult for me as a co-angler to set up correctly to drift. I did manage one. I had 2 bites, and I did manage one fish that weighed 201. Fantastic experience with Kyle Hall. It was great. I learned a lot, watched him work with his electronics. That's what being a co-angler is all about, is the learning experience. Day 2, I really got lucky and drew kind of a local. He's from New York, Rod McKinnon. Rod said, "Oh, we're not going 90 miles, which I was happy about, actually. He said, we're going to fish from Ogdenburg back to Messina, which we did. We drifted all the shoals, a lot of shoals in between there. Basically, I drop shot at a Berkeley flatworm 3.6 and a spark shed in 3-inch size. I ended up catching a limit, called a couple times, and had 15 pounds.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was stoked, and Rod ended up with 17 pounds. He made the top 25. Put a clinic on for me, was really fantastic. Talked to me all day long about what was going on. Showed me how he worked that river, how he drifted down that river, and how to make the boat do what it's supposed to do. You got those side winds coming like we had out of the Northeast on day 2. So just a fantastic experience for me. Yep, I had a great time, and I want to thank Brian for asking me on this trip.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. Anybody that's watching this that is thinking about being a co-angler, coming up here and fishing the St. Lawrence River, any big takeaways, things that they should know that you learned this week?
I think the biggest thing is that when you come to a fishery like this, it's a world-class fishery, but it doesn't always fish like a world-class fishery, and you have to be prepared to make changes and to be flexible, because as a co-angler, you don't know what your boater is going to do. You know, obviously I've been a boater a lot of times in a lot of tournaments, but this was as a co-angler, and I had to prepare a lot of different things. I had to be ready to fish shallow. I had to be ready to fish deep. And I think the opportunity to get that prepared and to be ready for that, and then figure out which rods to bring in the boat, because you're limited to 7. You have to be prepared. You have to be ready to go when the boater's ready to go. You can't be fumbling through your tackle, so you have to be organized. I felt good about that because I think I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish there. I had a pretty compact setup. You know, I was ready to fish when the boater stopped. I was ready to go when the boater was ready to go. And I think if you want to come out and fish these type of tournaments, these boaters pay an incredible amount of money to do what they're doing, and you should be an aid to them and help them out. Also be ready to open up your wallet a little bit for them, because to be honest with you, you know, our fuel bill for making that 90-mile run on day 1 was $166 just one way. It was 30 gallons of gas. So, you know, be prepared for that. Understand what these boaters put into this. You know, the other thing I would say is, you know, do the best you can. You're in a situation that you don't have control over the boat. You have to, you know, I was lucky enough to practice with Brian for 4 days, 5 days before this tournament. So I had an idea what the fish were doing, but I didn't necessarily know if I was going to get an opportunity to fish that way or not. So I was blessed that I did. All in all, an incredible experience. I think anybody that is thinking about doing it, I think you should get out there and do it. I've never been a co-angler before at this type of a level. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed myself, had a great time. You know, I kind of like all the pomp and circumstance at the tournament weigh-ins and all that. A lot of things go on. You hear a lot of dock talk. I love all that. I don't listen to much dock talk myself ever, but that's a great time. I want to thank Brian, and I want to thank my family also. Better luck next time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again with you. Again, thank you for everything. I truly appreciate it. Yeah. And also going to throw some clips in here. Dan and I had a great day today. We went to a little lake here. We had a really good day out in the water. Caught some really nice fish. Throw some clips in here. And there you have it. You know, sometimes you catch them,
Thank you,
sometimes
Brian.
you don't, but it's all about the memories. And
chasing little green fish.
That's it. And we made a lot of them memories this week. Okay, and to wrap things up, again, I'd like to thank everybody that makes all of this possible. Lucas Oil. If you've never tried Lucas Oil marine products, you should definitely give them a shot. They have all kinds of products to choose from. I'm sure you'll find one that meets your needs. Also, burned a lot of gasoline this week, and when you're traveling to these marinas, you never know what type of fuel you're gonna get. So I would recommend that you reach for Lucas Oil Marine Fuel Treatment. It's got some additives in there, especially It's gonna help and clean your injectors. You were making that really long run, burning a lot of fuel, so definitely give that a shot. Shout out to Bedford Sales on West Route 6, Randy and Jenny Miller. They put me into Phoenix. I can tell you, this 921 Elite, making that 90-mile run both days. My equipment was flawless this week. That Mercury Pro XS 254 stroke was phenomenal, and that's something I also can't preach enough, to do your preventive maintenance before you come here. Making sure that you've changed your engine oil if it needs to be, lower unit lube. You should do a full bow to stern check of everything, because when you're fishing the Great Lakes, it is demanding out here on your equipment. Also, huge shout out to Bridgford Foods. They put me on the team this year. You should definitely check out their lineup of products that they offer. I'm a huge fan of the beef jerky. You can check it out at Dollar General or at Walmart. Great flavors and packs well in a bass boat, and you should definitely give it a try. And lastly, Ben Green Insurance Agency. As many of you may or may not know, I'm a licensed insurance agent. I work for my brother Ben and my cousin Kevin Sigalito. And all we do is insure fishermen. We're licensed in 22 states. We do boat, home, auto, small business. So if you're looking for a new agent, consider us. We'll take a look at what you got and point you in the right direction. If you already have your current provider and you just want us to take a look at it and see where you're at, we'll do that as well. We know that it's all about relationships, and if you're happy with your agent, stay there. We completely understand. So there you have it. There's the recap. Unfortunately, the 2022 season has come to an end. So the next time that we'll have another tournament recap for you will be in 2023. I'm really excited to see what the future is going to hold for me. Thank you everyone for all the support and for all the followers. I truly appreciate it. Again, St. Lawerence River got me this time. Looking forward to the future, and we'll see you on the next episode of Chasing Little Greenfish.